News now on AFRICUNIA TV for August the 13th, 2021. I am Ayolua. Many thanks for watching. We begin from Nigeria. Indications on Thursday shows that many states have stopped mass testing for COVID-19 despite the growing fear about the asymptomatic variant of the deadly virus. While some state officials said people were no more coming for the test, others stated that they need more testing kits from the federal government. But the virologist who commented on the development berated state government, saying stoppage of community testing was wrong and dangerous. Although the figures released by the Nigerian Center for Disease Control showed that 2,293 cases were recorded between Sunday and Wednesday. According to the NCDC, 471 cases were recorded on Sunday, while 422 cases were recorded on Monday. The agency also recorded 610 cases on Tuesday, while 790 cases were recorded on Wednesday, bringing the total number of new infections to 2,293 in 4 days. To ensure mass testing, the Director General of the Cross River State Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Janet Ekpeyong, called for the opening of more testing sites. Ehanire, who spoke on Thursday, had the Presidential Villa Abuja during the 18th ministerial briefing organized by the Presidential Communication Team, explained that though some countries were observing one form of lockdown or the other, Nigeria was not at a level where lockdown would be necessary. We're not at that level yet where we're doing any lockdown. And as I speak to you now, several countries are on one kind of lockdown or the other. On our part, the Director General of the National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, explained that the recent delay associated with the application of Moderna vaccines donated by the United States was as a result of laboratory testing where some insignificant quantities had barcoding errors which had to be sorted. And away from that story, in Africa, a trickle of Mozambican families started to return to their homes and villages after a joint force of the Mozambican and Rwandan troops regained control of a strategic port from the Islamist fighters. After retaking the Mocimboa de Praia earlier this week, leaders of the joint force of the Mozambican military and 1,000 Rwandan army troops said they will be chasing the insurgents and speaking to establish peace and stability in the northern Cabo Delgado province. The retaking of the Mocimboa de Praia is a notable success for the Rwandan force that deployed to the Mozambique last month. Rwandan troops have rapidly helped Mozambique's armed forces achieve victories against the insurgents who have created a humanitarian emergency in the northern Cabo Delgado province and its surrounding areas. Before the Rwandan forces arrived, Mozambique's military and police had not succeeded in stemming the insurgents' offensives. More than 3,000 Mozambicans have been killed and 800,000 people displaced by the 4-year insurgency. Nearly 1 million people need urgent food aid as a result of the conflict. According to the UN World Food Programme, earlier this year, the insurgents, loosely allied to the Islamic State group, forced the French energy firm Total to pull out of its $20 billion liquefied natural gas project near Palma, further north on the Indian Ocean coastline. Reports also indicates the financing for the Rwandan troops mission in Mozambique is coming from France. And updates from Zambia. After over 12 hours of voting, polling stations closed at 6 p.m. with 700 still in queue waiting to cast ballots. The closely fought presidential election is seen as a test of the country's democratic credentials after a campaign dominated by the economic woes and a debt crisis. 16 presidential candidates are vying for the top job, but the frontrunners are incumbent Edgar Lungu, 64, and his long-time rival Akande Iltema, a business tycoon, who are facing off at the polls for the third time. Iltema, 59, who is running for a sixth time, is backed by an alliance of 10 parties. A flagging economy and rising living costs have eroded Lungu's support base in recent years. Surveys suggest and the election could even be tighter than 2016 polls when he narrowly scrapped a victory over Iltema. Lungu, who had held the post for 6 years and is a lawyer by training, is accused of borrowing unsustainably, particularly from Chinese creditors, to finance a spree of infrastructure projects. Under him, Zambia became the first African country to default on its foreign debt since the coronavirus pandemic began, while inflation soared to 24.6% in June. The highest rate is more than a decade. Africa's second biggest producer of copper after the Democratic Republic of Congo and the 8th producer in the world missed another debt repayment this year. Winding queues of hundreds of people formed before dawn outside polling stations hours before voting was due to open around densely populated and working-class neighborhoods of Lusaka. Almost midway through the voting day in central Lusaka's popular township, hundreds of voters patiently waited for their turn to cast ballots, chatting away or sucking on ice lollies or popsicles sold by a roving vendor. And on the international scene, the U.S. Food Drug Administration on Thursday authorized the booster dose of Covid-19 vaccines from Pfizer and Moderna for people with compromised immune systems. A few other countries, such as Israel and Germany, plan to have already administered the third dose to avoid another crisis due to the contagious Delta variant of the coronavirus. Scientists are still divided over the broad use of Covid-19 vaccine boosters among those without underlying problems, as benefits of the boosters remain undetermined. Pfizer has said the efficacy of the vaccine it developed with biotech groups drops over time, citing a study that showed 84% effectiveness from a peak of 96% 4 months after a second dose. Moderna has also said it sees the eventual need for booster doses, especially since the Delta variant has caused breakthrough infections in fully vaccinated people. The U.S. health regulator on Thursday amended the emergency use authorizations for the vaccine to allow an additional dose in certain individuals, specifically for recipients of solid organ transplant or those diagnosed with conditions that are considered to have an equivalent level of immunocompromise. Reports of infections among vaccinated people and concerns about diminishing protections have galvanized wealthy nations to distribute booster shots, even as many countries struggle to access forced vaccine doses. The World Health Organization last month called for a moratorium on COVID-19 vaccine booster shots until at least the end of September. And in sports, Brentford will play the first game in English top flight league since 1938-37 season, when they host Arsenal in the English Premier League opener. Brentford are among the 3 teams promoted from the second-tier English Championship. The others are Watford and Norwich City. The match at the Brentford Community Stadium is among the 10 games that would see approximately 300,000 fans across stadiums in England. Speaking on the 2021-2022 season, English Premier League Chief Executive Officer Richard Masters, who described the championship as the most competitive league in Europe, who took up its position at the Premier League in December 2019, said, "I'm expecting this season to be competitive, and there are chasing packs of clubs who want to get into European places. We know the difference that can make to your finances and overall future. While last season was largely played out in empty stadiums, the relaxation of the COVID-19 restrictions in England meant that larger attendances are expected during the upcoming campaign. Although some clubs want fans to have proof of negative COVID-19 test or full vaccination status. Tomorrow at the Old Trafford, Manchester United will hold old foes, while Burnley will tackle Brighton and have Albion. And that's it on news now. For more stories, visit our website on AFRICUNIA.TV, follow our social media platforms on Jointum and Pangram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like and drop a comment on the comment section. I am Ayolua. Many thanks for watching.